Another month and we have another Samsung mid-range phone, the Galaxy A27. I have already reviewed the Galaxy A37 and the Galaxy A57, and honestly I was quite underwhelmed. Sure, with the ongoing chipset shortage, prices have gone up across almost every brand, but even then I don't think the Galaxy A37 or the A57 offered particularly good value for money. I was pretty honest and maybe a little too harsh in those reviews. Now Samsung has launched the Galaxy A27. I bought the 8 variant for around 40,000 rupees, and my god, this is what 40,000 rupees gets you in the mid-range segment these days. So the big question is the Galaxy A27 still worth buying at this price, or are there simply better alternatives out there? Let's find out. So starting with the design, I actually like Samsung's new design language, especially the color options. Yes, its frames are plastic, but surprisingly, the Galaxy A27 does not feel cheap in the hand. By the way, the Galaxy A27 and the Galaxy M47, which is basically its online exclusive sibling, are very similar phones. The M47 gets a slightly bigger battery and different color options, and it's around like 4,000 to 5,000 cheaper. So if you're looking for pure value, I'd probably recommend the Galaxy M47 instead. But the A27 is available in more markets, and I personally think its color options just look better. Unfortunately, Samsung has also made a couple of downgrades here with the design. Last year's Galaxy A26 came with IP67 rating, but this year's A27 only has IP64 rating, so that's definitely a step backward. Another disappointing change is the fingerprint sensor. Instead of an in-display fingerprint scanner, we still get a side-mounted one, and for a phone that costs 40,000 rupees, that's honestly quite bizarre. Okay, now let's talk about its display, and since this is a Samsung-made AMOLED panel, the display quality is still pretty good. Colors look vibrant, it's sharp enough, and overall it's a decent viewing experience, but I wouldn't call it excellent in any way. The brightness is fine, it's usable outdoors, but again, for 40,000 rupee phone, I expected it to be brighter. Samsung also has compromised on the bezels. The chin and the side bezels are larger than what you'd expect in this very price range. Thankfully, the old teardrop notch is finally gone now. We now get a punch hole camera, which definitely makes the phone look somewhat not like a budget phone. One thing I was utterly disappointed to see though is the lack of HDR support here. Yes, the phone has Wide 1L1 certification, so you can stream full HD content on Netflix and other platforms, but there is no HDR10 or Dolby Vision support whatsoever on this phone. Again, for a phone at this price range, this is another compromise. Now, probably my biggest complaint with the Galaxy A27 is the performance. I have been using this phone for a couple of days now, and honestly it feels slow, like really slow. It comes with the Snapdragon 6 Gen 3 chipset, which isn't exactly a performance-focused processor, and on top of that, Samsung is running the full version of One UI here, which is quite heavy. Coming directly from the S26 Ultra to this phone, the difference was immediately noticeable. Even with the 8GB RAM variant, this phone often feels sluggish. Now, to be fair, it does get the full One UI experience. A few Galaxy AI features are missing, but otherwise it's very close to Samsung's flagship software experience. The problem is that the hardware simply struggles to keep up. For 40,000 rupees, honestly, I expected much better performance. Even after the recent price hikes, you can still find phones like the Redmi Turbo 5 or the OnePlus Nord 6, which are significantly faster than this phone. Even the Nothing Phone 4B, which is available for a lesser price, feels noticeably smoother in everyday use. Gaming is also pretty much no-go on this phone. You can check the gaming scores on the screen here and judge for yourself. If all you do is browse social media, watch videos, or use one app at a time, it's perfectly fine, but the moment you start multitasking, switching between multiple apps, or doing anything slightly demanding, you will immediately notice the sluggishness here. But one thing I will give Samsung credit for is the thermals. Even though the performance is not good, this phone does not heat up much. I say so because I have been using it during this peak summer heat, and even then it has stayed fairly cool. So that's definitely one positive. Another good thing is the software support. Samsung promises 6 years of Android and security updates, which is genuinely impressive. That's it. I am honestly curious to see how well this hardware holds up after 6 years. If you're someone watching this review 6 years from now, do leave a comment and let me know how the Galaxy A27 is performing. Anyway, let's move on to the battery, and the Samsung Galaxy A27 packs a 5000 mAh battery, which in 2026 isn't exactly the biggest capacity anymore. So if you're a moderate user, it will comfortably last a full day, but if you're a heavy user, playing games, watching a lot of videos, or using the camera frequently, you will probably need to recharge this phone before the day ends. And of course, Samsung still does not include a charger inside the box, so even after spending 40,000 rupees on this phone, I had to spend another 1,000 rupees or so on Samsung's 25-watt charger. That just adds insult to the injury. Okay, finally, let's talk about the cameras, and honestly, they're just okay. Nothing here really stands out, actually. You get Samsung's signature image processing, so photos look vibrant with boosted blues and greens. Daylight shots are decent, and selfies are perfectly usable too. But the ultra-wide camera is only 5 megapixels, so don't expect much detail from it. Low-light photography is also pretty average. As soon as the lighting gets challenging, the image quality drops noticeably. For videos, you can record up to 4K at 30 FPS using the main camera. However, there is no 4K recording from the ultra-wide camera or the selfie camera. So overall, I would say the cameras here are below average for a 40,000 phone. They're usable, but there's nothing particularly exciting about them. So to wrap things up, the Galaxy A27 is once again another underwhelming Samsung mid-range phone, just like the Galaxy A26 before it and the Galaxy A25 before that. In fact, I think Samsung's A20 series has consistently been the weakest lineup in its mid-range portfolio. It offers even less value than the A30 and the A50 series. And it sits in this really awkward price segment where there are simply far better alternatives available. If you're spending around like 40,000 rupees, here are a few phones I would recommend instead. First, if you still can find it, the Galaxy A56 is available for around the same price. It gives you a brighter display, a better IP rating, significantly better cameras, and much better performance. Yes, you will lose 1 year of software updates, but overall it's a much better phone. Then there's the Nothing Phone 4B, which costs around 35,000 rupees. It's much smoother in day-to-day use and offers cleaner software experience. If performance is your priority, I would recommend the Poco X8 Pro, the Redmi Turbo 5, or the OnePlus Nord 6. And if you're on a slightly tighter budget, even the OnePlus Nord CE6 is worth considering. There are simply too many better options in this price range. Even if you're set on buying Samsung, I would probably tell you to skip the Galaxy A27 and get the Galaxy M47 instead. It's around 4,000 to 5,000 cheaper while offering almost the same experience. That said, I don't think the Galaxy M47 is exceptional either. I've seen countless sponsored reels and paid promotions for Samsung's M series phones lately, and while they might look attractive in those ads, my experience has been quite different. The performance is simply too slow and the cameras aren't impressive enough for me to recommend them either. So guys, that is all for this review. If you appreciate these honest, no-nonsense reviews, do consider subscribing. It really helps the channel and motivates us to keep making content like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.